No matter what your product is or what your product does, you need to have a good marketing tactic. These can be giant campaigns that are concernably everywhere. Things like the Raid Shadow Legends social media push come to mind. Or something small that you may not even know is an advertisement. Heck, I would count YouTube thumbnails as advertising. Or going to a store and seeing the packaging on certain products. You don't realize, but they're trying to compete to get you to notice the product. The world runs on who knows about your creation, and the series that so many of us are way too invested in, Skylanders, it is no question that this series needed a good marketing push, especially since it had to carry the Toys to Life genre and make it mainstream. So let's discuss a few things they did to get it out there, starting with... I won't be going over the series marketing in order of the games, but SSA is a pretty good starting point since this covers things you're mostly familiar with. I mean, there's a marketing gimmick in the title of the game. To be fair, all the game's titles include the gimmick, but this one more than others. Spyro was a beloved character and of a highly successful series. Okay, maybe it wasn't that successful at the time, but it was still relevant enough for Activision to want to reinvent the series. And that was pretty much how Skylanders began, a Spyro game. I would recommend searching up Spyro's Kingdom if you want to know more about this. Spyro fans hated the original Skylanders game, at least at the time. OG fans thinking this was them ruining the series again, and Legend of Spyro fans think it was just some dumb kids game compared to the over-the-top Warrior Cats level of edgelord stuff they were used to. Both parties displeased overall. Thankfully, they have calmed down over the years, but we'll always get people saying that this series killed Spyro. Believe you me, I can make an entire video ranting about this subject. Hell, I would enjoy it too. But there are better things to discuss. Skylanders teamed up with Toys R Us to sell exclusive versions of Skylanders that are the same but have a cool different color palette and better stats. This encouraged people to both buy Skylanders, because who doesn't want a second shop besides me, and people who want to buy Skylanders from Toys R Us. But what about me? I like money, said Walmart and a few other companies. This is where we got some other things like the only Chase variant I own, more legendaries, the Nitro variants which were exclusive to Target. I don't have Target in my area, whoops. And non-variants exclusive to Amazon. Boy, what the fuck? And other strange occurrences. Personally, I really like variants. For some reason, around Imaginators, I got really into them. I don't really own that many senseis, but nearly half of the ones I own are variants. Hell, I even have one of those legendary creation crystals. Something about owning a new version of a character you already own, but with a fun new color scheme, always has me happy. Even when this leads me to owning multiple versions of the same character. Announcements are generally what get you hyped for the product. This is what people have to report on, and what fans desperately cling on to while they wait for the next big installment of their favorite series. Still waiting for one. The first Skylanders game announced had this cool rock music and all these fog effects and giant statue replicas of the characters from the game, which I'm praying to God have their own shrine, and some figures that were given out to press. If you have it in box, it's quite valuable, but otherwise... Skylanders Giants had a cool beta level. Yeah, there isn't that much to talk about this, besides the Giants being way too flashy. Oh, and thanks to the leaked alpha of Giants, you can actually play this stage, which is a novelty. Swamp Force had such a cool announcement, giving away 500 Ninjanis at Times Square, New York. Why? Because the next game is being announced. Hey! Another instance of Activision going to Toy Fair. Mostly just this dude talking about how great the series is. I can't blame him. But there was also some cool stuff outside of the presentation, like these massive statues. What I would give to be in the mere presence of a life-size Magna Charge. What was even cooler was at E3 a few months later, they had this really entertaining video.
Let me have a look. Wow. Yeah, bloggers. They're just standing around. Hey, you! eat this. Just saw Swap Force, had to swap my pants. Hashtag Swap Force, hashtag your mama. Hey, what's up there? Ironic t-shirts as far as the eye can see.
Imagine being a press outlet and being called a chump by a fictional character. L. Trap Team had a big statue of Snapshot. Yes. Superchargers had the best one by far, including an in-game variant exclusive to the event, the announcement of Bowser and Donkey Kong, a model hot streak that you can ride in, and if that wasn't crazy enough, air fresheners. Yes, baby! Skylanders Superchargers air fresheners! Yeah! I'm struggling to contain myself. Let's continue. Skylanders Imaginators announcement lives in infamy, and not the good kind. I don't want to go into further detail, but it is worth mentioning that cameos and guest characters are a great form of marketing, and an effective one at that. Example, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Who gives a shit? But it has Banjo-Kazooie, even in his bad design. I'll take 5. 5 is in 5 copies, not 5 minutes. Okay, now how do I make a transition to the next topic? I didn't really plan this through. Food is an essential part of life, with a few exceptions. If you're watching this video, chances are you're of a species that needs food to survive. So why not have this with some product placement? In this house, we only have 2 options. Skylanders Battlecast Kids Cuisine, or Starvation. I choose Starvation, but thanks for offering. Seriously, what is this and how is it edible? Isn't the packaging supposed to lie to you and show you something better than what you'll actually receive? What does that say about this quote-unquote food? Who looked at this packaging and went, yeah, I want that inside me? Like, if I ate this, I would call an ambulance immediately. You know I'm desperate when I'm ranting about kids' meals. Meals is still in quotations, mind you. Menchie's Yogurt did a promo for these Chaos Spoons. I actually went there to get one of these, but said they were making a promo for the Emoji Movie. Not really much to talk about this one besides, I don't know, Pinata's having a favorite yogurt. Wait, does that mean that Skylanders have canonically been to Menchie's? What is Dino-Rang's favorite? I need to know. They tried to make the customizable yogurt as a comparison to the gimmick of making Imaginators like, you know, you do in Skylanders Imaginators. I mean, I understand who doesn't look at their Imaginator and go, I feel like I could eat this. But this is yogurt, not a whatever your Imaginator is supposed to be. And now we have to get to the long part. Consider this a mini section. McDouglas. God knows what's in those burgers. You're probably eating plastic already. So why not sweeten the deal with some plastic you can play with? From Giants to Superchargers, they put out these fun toys with your, totally edible... This is food, right? This provided merchandise of characters you can already buy. Huh. Now, I want to have an entire section dedicated to merchandise, but I'll talk about these for a bit. These are pretty low quality, even for McDouglas standards. Even at the bottom of the barrel, they still continue going lower. That's oddly relatable. What the fuck is Chaos in this hoodie? This looks like someone at my school. Chaos, since when do you have a vaping addiction? What an edgy motherfucker. Toys from Swap Force were, alright upgrade. Providing some Chompy merch. I'll stick with my Mega Bloks info I go Chompy, as it's more on scale with the games, but I only have one of these. For now. I find it interesting that Trap Team's McDonald's pack only did 2 of the villains, and why these 2 specifically? Like, I'm glad we got merchandise of these 2, but they could have done someone like Pepperjack, I don't know. I'm just a bit sad some characters got absolutely no merchandise when they proudly displayed these characters who already had figures. That's a problem with Skylanders merchandise in general, but it's still upsetting here. But the Wolfgang reminds me of a Robot Chicken sketch that used a custom-painted version of the McDonald's figure, which reminded me of things I was trying to repress for a while.
Yeah, Tough Luck is so sexy. She's a trap.
Woo, that girl's on the trap team. Woo, she's got a rain scheme. Yeah. Woo, she'll fill you with a six. Your butthole is her wedge.
Getting back to the reasons I need therapy. Moving on.
Superchargers figures actually looked acceptable. A few of them at least. The rest are just alright. This had an interesting game you could play on the McPlay app. I wonder if these games are still in the files of the app. Oh well. A neato thing about these McDonald's promos is that they had their own commercials, including crossovers. Here we have a CGI ad of Washbuckler treating kids to succumb to their scrumptious overlord McDouglas. We got this Superchargers one featuring Happy, the Happy Meal. Is he happy to be a meal? That's kind of fucked up. Yeah, obviously he loses the race because Spitfire has sympathy for no one. Snapshot interacting with Barbie? What even? Surprisingly, this won't be the only time where both are on screen today, but come on, man. Snapshot is much more civilized than this commercial depicts them. Like, this is the thing I hate about McDonald's ads, is that they blatantly put what is meant to be a boy's toy in a girl's toy. Yes, these are intended so that kids that aren't interested in pinky girl stuff actually have an alternative. But labeling what is clearly intended as for the boys by depicting what they are supposed to have as monster brutes, ostracizing and generally isolating both boys who don't fall into just one or the other, and girls who don't want to be put in these decade-old stereotypes. So for either party, they are forced to think that they don't belong, that what they like is wrong, that they are wrong for liking these things. If a parent was ordering this, they would have to specify, I want a girl's toy, or I want a boy's toy, which for the child, I don't need to explain why this is harmful to their mental health on multiple levels. Sorry for the tangent there. But I have an example of this. Now, when I think Gilgrunt, I think of a passionate, loving, and intelligent, devoted man who became a soldier in search for his one and only true love, who still has never been found. Well, kind of is, but it's inconsistent. And yet in this, Gilgrunt is just some dumb brawn. I know, this was made by a separate company, just some random animation studio, likely foreign, but I know they did this just to label the gender norms. Actually, this looks like a reskin of another commercial. Huh. It's certainly interesting that there are more than one McDouglas commercials featuring a crossover between Littlest Pet Shop of all things. Yeah. These. Alright, that's enough screen time for you. Now into my territory, feral creature. What is wrong with me? I'm getting upset over McDonald's commercials. I need sleep. But now is not the time for sleep. I need to keep talking. Skylanders later portrayed McDouglas by partnering up with Burger King? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. I haven't ate there in a while. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the only merchandise of the Academy designs of the characters. Oh, how could I forget? The Frito-Lay promotions. So, I'm sure you have the misfortune of knowing what the minis are. Cuter and marketable versions of already existing characters from SSA and Giants, with one exception from Swap Force, because of course there is. These were exactly the same as the standard series one of these characters, but worse in every way, apart from having better speed stats, taking up way too much of Trap Team's roster. But did you know that these little diabolical midgets from hell were once even more useless? Believe you me, it's somehow possible. So, there was a sweepstakes done by the Frito-Lay chip company, think Doritos or Lay's chips, did multiple sweepstakes, including the original versions of the minis, at the time known as the Sidekicks. because of which certain minis from Trap Team can still be used in earlier games, even SSA, but all they do is look around you and look cute. There were a plethora of these sweepstakes, and not just minis either. Mostly just variants of existing characters like these 3 hot dogs, or Fright Rider, who looks way too cool, and even the opportunity to name some of the Skylanders from what was at the time the next game in the series, before it was even announced. That must have been exciting. And what kind of names do we get? Bat Spin. She's a bat. She spins. High Five, because 5 on head. Flipwreck is honestly a pretty good name, no complaints there. And all in all, this was a pretty cool promo. Now, I never actually entered these sweepstakes, but I remember going to a friend's house and seeing their terabyte and wondering, why is the base green? This is a character from Trap Team, and being utterly confused. I don't own any of these sidekick versions, but, I mean, why would I own them? They're useless, but it's still pretty interesting. Oh, and I also need to mention this since I don't know if I'll ever mention minis again. I maxed out Terabyte when I first got him years ago. He is literally useless. What was wrong with me at the time? What is wrong with me now? I don't know when else I'll bring up the minis, so for now,
Petvac is adorable, and I want him.
something I weirdly miss about TV, the advertisements, which is strange because I always hated them. Well, not entirely. I remember I would talk with my family about the episode or movie whenever a commercial break hit. And TV advertising can be highly entertaining. I don't know, the fact that you're forced to watch these 30-second or 1-minute ads instead of just skipping a 5-second one on YouTube allows a lot more breathing room for the advertisers and much more creative things. The ability to skip ads is both a gift and a curse. It's a gift because we get to skip the ads. We don't want to look at garbage that we don't want to, but it's kind of sucks because the ads that we do get are now worse because they know that people aren't going to watch it, so why even bother? Anyhow, back to TV. Whether you're on Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, I'm sure you saw lots of commercials. Personally, I was on YTV. I will forever be in the zone. Lots of TV ads were shown for the series, so let's talk about them. I'll start by talking about, what do you even call these? I'll call them the talking figures lineup of commercials because the figures talk. I mean, technically that's what they always do in the games, but the toys themselves, not the characters. These are just skits where it gives close-ups on the toys while the voice actors kind of just talk. These lasted from SSA to Swap Force. SSA's versions of the ads were not funny at all. To be fair, most of these ads are not funny, but the later ones at least have charm. The only time I laughed at one of these was for Ruptor's commercial, but that was only because of how poorly implemented the burp sound effect was added. So it just reminds me of memes. That commercial in question.
Shoot, a Ruptor? I can't help it, I just...
Hi version.
Shoot, a Ruptor? I can't help it, I just...
Giants and Swap Force were much different than SSA's versions of the ads. These are adorable. We have a hide and seek one, which doesn't make that much sense because who plays Easter egg hunting using objects you already own? An interaction with a turtle. Cute. Amongst other things. Even though I love these commercials, I'm glad they ended. They lean into the toy aspect way too much, not really telling you about the game itself besides the gimmick. Trap Team has these beautifully animated commercials which don't really depict anything that would happen in the game. False advertising? Nonsense! Like this one where Food Fight actually fights the Gulper instead of just doing some block puzzle before trapping him. I like how Food Fight says, "Portal Master, now!" Imagine if the Skylanders actually talked to you mid-gameplay.
Portal Master!
Nice car.
We got this commercial for the mobile version of the game, though this probably should have included in the food marketing section. There is this commercial featuring the Trap Team yogurt. with the most relatable thing, your trap master's eating all the yogurt.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I can't wait to get some yogurt.
Come on! This commercial here that doesn't advertise Skylanders directly, more things you can buy at Target, like this dog! In this we have... told you this wouldn't be the last time Snapshot interacts with Barbie. In this, he eats a mug. Like, he's straight up, he ain't gulping down the hot cocoa, he gulping down... Actually, wait, what are mugs made out of? Glass? Porcelain? Ceramic? Regardless, that is going to require a trip to the doctors. The things a man does to impress a woman. How poetic. You have issues, man. Alright, let's review some Superchargers and call it a day, eh? Superchargers had very bland marketing, which made it feel like yet another Skylanders game. Just going here is Skylanders, here is gameplay. Ugh. Really downplays how amazing Superchargers was and still is. Anyhow, this trailer advertised some CGI bullshit featuring the Travis Pastrana. Who are you? Besides that, Superchargers had some YouTube ads, including this dope-ass song. Which, Superchargers wasn't the first to do it in the series, but I would argue it's the best one. I listen to it a bit too often, if I'm being honest. We had some under-the-hood things where the Flintster himself is showing us things we can buy. Scumbags. And my personal favorite, behind the scenes. This really shows how passionate the devs were, and I really watched these advertisements too many times to count. How long have I been talking? Jesus! 20 minutes? I'll wrap it up here. This is a broad subject, so I can easily make a part 2 of this if you guys want to, as there is so much I wanted to include in this video. And since you're still here, that means you enjoyed this to some capacity. Am I correct? Well, if that is so, please subscribe and leave any feedback, particularly the feedback, as that's most beneficial, but neither are necessary. I was planning on taking a break from YouTube for a while after my rollerball video, since my first 2 videos didn't do so well, but after all the positive feedback, man, I couldn't just stop and wait. Every like, every subscriber, and especially all the kind and lovely words I've been given, I knew I had to make it as good as possible for all of you. I really enjoyed making this one, and I will enjoy making more in the future. I should mention that all the things that happened while I was working on this video, I appeared on Hero's podcast and one of his Christmas videos. Both were incredibly fun to be a part of, and I do not regret a single second of it. As well as a capital A for awesome video talking about none other than moi. Under a heavy layer of egocentralism, it is still really good. As well as appearing on Decathron's channel. If you've been waiting for me to rant about Jingle Bell Chompy Mage, well, I have the perfect video for you. Honestly, I won't be surprised if a lot of you found my channel from those videos. Seriously, all the comments made me shed more than enough tears. Thank you for getting me to as many subs as I have. Even if it's a small number, thank you so much. Seriously, love you guys. And I think that's about it for the video. Roll the outro, I guess. I don't have that many videos. If you'd like to watch me talking about Roller Brawl, she's a very good character, and I highly recommend. She'll be right here, and Hothead, again, also right here. Bye.
Oh, don't turn me into a plushie! Ah!